So Elle, what are some things people might not know that you think probably they should before moving to Hawaii?
That's a great question because my personal experience before I moved to Hawaii, actually I didn't even plan to have moved to Hawaii. I just came here for vacation 21 years ago.
That's right, when you went to Maui, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had no plans to move anywhere. I love California where I live in Long Beach. I just came here for vacation by an accident and I fell in love with the place.
That's easy to do.
Yeah, and we're back in Long Beach, California. Cost of living was very high too, but you never can compare with Hawaii. Let me show you. For example, gallon of milk now can cost anywhere from $8 to $10 in Hawaii. A loaf of bread can cost anywhere from $7 to $15 in any parts of Hawaii.
They actually just had a news report about
Yeah.
bread. Yeah.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
politician, on on Kauai complain about loaf of bread. Love one. It's not organic. It's not gluten free. It's nothing
Just
special.
regular bread.
Yeah,
and it's
those bread. I remember when I first moved here, it's only cost $2.99.
Yeah.
Now they're asking for $14 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's outrageous. And the cost of living, especially grocery, are really high. But good news is if you go to Costco or Sam's Club, they are much lower.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually, because so when we go to Costco here, I shop at Costco a lot, so does Elle, but Elle also go to Sam's Club and
Yeah,
whatnot.
I love Sam's Club.
So when we were recently in Oklahoma visiting some family, and
Nashville too.
yeah, in Nashville, and went to the Costco over in Oklahoma, and I really didn't see that
Big
much
difference.
difference with the
Yeah.
prices.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
the
meat was
meats,
about the
yeah.
same, and I mean, I was thinking, okay, we're in the mainland, especially a place like Oklahoma. It's
Yeah.
probably going to be a lot cheaper. They got the
Yeah,
farmland,
Tennessee, yeah.
but it wasn't much different at all. So that was kind of surprising. So I think when it comes to your groceries, sticking to maybe discount, it might not be
That's
as
it.
bad as you think.
Yeah, just go to big box stores like a Costco, Sam's Club, get you what you want. But don't go to like a Safeway, really expensive,
No, I love Safeway. I love
Yeah.
Safeway. There's a lot of stuff. You go to the smaller supermarkets, Safeway and Foodland, because not everything you want to buy in bulk.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. And of course, the big discount warehouses might not have those specific items that you need.
Yeah.
So the smaller grocery stores
Yeah,
are great.
and if you want some organic stuff, Whole Foods, if you don't mind the price, always the best option.
Oh yeah, Whole Foods is really good too.
Yeah, Whole Foods expensive anywhere on the mainland anyway.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about, and this doesn't have anything to do with real estate or necessarily moving to Hawaii, but I want to talk about the ocean conditions, because this is really important if you're not familiar with it. You see so many people every year, tourists, people who move to Hawaii. First thing they want to go and see and experience is the ocean. It looks so beautiful, so calm, and I love the ocean. I grew up in Hawaii, going to the beach almost every day, but you got to be really careful. Those signs that are posted along the beach, dangerous current, all that, you got to keep that in mind, because if you haven't experienced the ocean before, a lot of people think, oh, it's not so bad, and they go in the water, next thing they knew, they're so tired they cannot paddle anymore.
Yeah.
Because the current, I am a very strong swimmer. I've been doing this all my life, but if I don't pay attention to the current, I can get easily swept away too.
Oh, yeah.
That current can look very calm. It's like a duck, right? On top, the surface, everything looks calm, but underneath, the feet are just going
Strong.
like this. Yeah. So it's really important, especially if you got kids too. You got to learn about the ocean, learn about the beaches before you just jump on in, because there was a recent last week over at
tourists at the China
Walls
in Hawaii Kai.
Yeah.
They didn't expect. They saw the currents very smooth. So they both jumped in. Good thing the Coast Guard was there, so the Coast Guard saved them. Just imagine you hit by the China Wall, the big rocks.
Oh yeah,
my
big rocks.
gosh.
That's what almost killed those people. And then there's other beaches like Sandy Beach, which I love, but you gotta be very careful, because at certain points, like shore breaks, if you get dumped on the sand, it is very, very easy to break your neck, and it happens every year.
Yeah.
Every year. So that's why I wanted to point this out. Very important. You learn about the ocean, respect the ocean.
And the weather.
Yeah.
Let me talk about another thing is the island fever. I first moved to Maui. Maui was beautiful. That's a place draw my heart. After I lived there for about a year and a half, I started to feel a little bit kind of isolated.
It's a little quiet.
Yeah, it's quiet because Maui is really small. Then I work in a resort in Whalers Village. I went to beach every weekend. I love beach, the sandy beach. I went every weekend. After a year and a half, you still feel kind of isolated. So I start to miss a lot of things I can do because you go to the mall, you see same old people every time, and you go to the store, same thing. So island fever, if you don't have a lot of families here, can really happen.
Yeah, it can be a bit isolated. I think that's why when picking the island you want to live to is really important.
Yes.
Oahu, we have the most city life. Yeah, most dynamic. You got the city life.
Yeah.
The suburbs too. The whole island experience. Some of the other neighbor islands, which are beautiful, and they might, for some people, be too quiet. Other people, it might be perfect for them. But that's something to keep in mind. And especially, there's no such thing as going on road trips to different states in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Unless you got a car that converts into a submarine.
Yeah.
And it's expensive too. I think, let's say you just want to take a trip to California, which would be the closest flight from here back to the mainland.
Yeah.
And 5-hour flight, and that's for one person and coach. That fluctuates anywhere from $500 to $900 usually, just for one person.
I got $150 during COVID for the round trip. Yeah.
But you can't get the specials. Yeah.
Yeah. But one thing I want to mention is it depends on your lifestyle and your age group. Usually younger people feel more isolated. But if you live in big city like Honolulu over 1 million population,
which we are in right now.
Yeah, that's why I moved from Maui. I left Maui to Oahu because Oahu has a lot more things to do, a lot of more activity to do, just like a big city. But if you are used to living in a small city, Hawaii, you will not have island fever anyway. And in Honolulu, we have a concerts. We have a lot of concerts, even football games, even not hockey, but we have ice skating stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of things to do. Honolulu, over 1 million people. It's a lot of dynamics.
Yeah.
So you will not feel island fever. Even I moved here by myself for many years until I met Ryan.
And actually, the next thing I wanted to mention, and it kind of fits perfectly, is the job market here.
Yeah.
That's another big thing, which islands you're living on. So on Oahu, there's probably the most job opportunity because it's the biggest city over here. Now, if you're living on island like Hawaii, job market is very, very limited there. Huge thing to consider. Even on Oahu, the job market is very competitive.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned this before, but we have a thing we joke around here called the luxury tax, which means what you get paid for doing a job in the mainland might not be getting paid as much out here in Hawaii. So it's really important to do your research on that. And I would highly recommend prior to coming to Hawaii that you lock down a job because it is a competitive market out here.
But the good news for some professionals, like the healthcare professions, doctors, lawyers, they can always easily find a job, a good paid job, and real estate related construction always are very high demand. Hawaii has a big construction demand. We have a military four branches, right?
Yeah.
In Hawaii. Also, if you work remotely, it doesn't really matter where you live.
That's true. Yeah.
Or if you just like Larry Ellison bought the whole Lanai Island, doesn't matter how slow it is. Lanai only have 2 hotels, maybe no stop sign, nothing.
But I think since you mentioned that too, certain professions, right? Like doctors and nurses.
Yes.
Doctors and nurses, especially nurses. There's a huge demand for nurses in Hawaii, and they get paid very well here.
Yeah.
So if you're in that field, it can definitely be beneficial for you to move to Hawaii. Now, Elle, the last thing I think we should talk about is transportation in Hawaii. Now, not just transportation, but the type of vehicle you have. Here's one big thing. So parking, for example, especially when you're in town or you're going to shopping centers. Like when Elle and I go to the mainland, when we're in Las Vegas or something, we like to get a bigger vehicle, like a big truck or something like that, especially when we go out road tripping, big SUV. And now, most definitely they have those here, but you got to keep in mind that our parking stalls tend to be quite a bit smaller, even when you go to the shopping centers. So if you have a big wide vehicle, it might be a bit more difficult for you to find parking, especially if you're buying a condo, because in most condos you have the parking garage, and you know, those taller vehicles might have a hard time. Actually, you wouldn't want to buy a car then find a place that your car won't fit.
Yeah,
that could be a problem.
Well, the overall is when you move to Hawaii, and things people don't know is that you have to downsize everything, including how much clothes you wear, because we only have one season, right? You don't need a winter. And how big car you have, maybe get smaller car, and maybe get smaller house, because if you live on the mainland, have 5,000 square feet house, you may not need that kind of big house in Hawaii. Yeah. Because we don't need a lot of space to store all the equipment.
Plus, it's very expensive to get that.
Yeah, it's expensive.
More space you get, and then, and also with the last part of transportation is, you know, knowing where you're going to work and live, because the difference in traffic times in the morning and the evening
very short,
can be very short, or it could be very long. So it really depends on the area you're living and where you're working in Hawaii. So that's a really good thing, especially you want to check with your realtor prior to buying a home here, if you know where you're going to work, is what your commute time is going to look like. Because, you know, you can easily avoid stuff in the morning, and depending on where you're at in another place, it might take you 2.5 hours. There's also an alternative to that too. I used to work for a major bank in downtown, and you know, I've had a car ever since I was a teenager. But for me, it was relaxing just taking the bus in the morning. I wouldn't have to worry about parking downtown, and wouldn't have to worry. I just sit back and read. And Hawaii's got a great public transit system, great bus system here. Definitely a perk. Our public transportation is very, very good here.
Overall, they have a lot of cons to live in Hawaii, but overall, the quality of life is much better than on the mainland and living on the mainland, because that's my personal experience.
I would say, I mean, to kind of rephrase, there's pros and cons to living anywhere. And I think by far the pros of living in Hawaii far outweigh the cons, but it is a good idea to keep some of those things in mind.
And you are a lot happier. You live longer. You live healthier. I think that's a major thing for living in Hawaii. Right?
And if you do your research, get filled in as much as possible, you know, it'll make your transition, your move even smoother, a more pleasant experience. So please feel free to contact us anytime if you have questions, and like and subscribe our video. We'd appreciate it.
Thank you for watching.